Box office top 10 at 35, Jackdaw.
I quite enjoyed it. It's that movie, but with added motocross, and it's very stylishly done. And the sequence at the beginning in the canoe really gave me the chills.
At 27, Samsara.
Which is a film which has a moment in the middle of it, 15 minutes, in which you are invited to close your eyes and experience the film with you. Honestly, although you're not saying anything, the way in which you're not saying anything is speaking volumes. It's a festival favourite, and I enjoyed it.
Festival favourite is good. Number 11 is Baghead.
Nothing like as scary as a horror film. Not scary and a horror film, so a disappointment.
Aidan says, I'm writing to inform you that last night in Gloucester I had the most terrifying experience in a cinema watching Baghead.
Really?
Never before have I feared for the life of another person as they were being choked by an unknown force. I'm not talking about the film. I'm talking about the woman in the audience who suddenly started walking down the steps, choking on something. Fortunately, there was a gentleman nearby who performed the Heimlich maneuver on her, and she was saved. It would be difficult for any horror film to live up to the fear of someone's actual life being in danger, but Baghead was particularly not up to the task, despite its one jump scare. Still, it was better than Night Swim. Thank you.
I still haven't seen Night Swim.
I don't think you're going to be tempted to either.
I'm not going to.
Number 10 is The Beekeeper.
He's keeping bees. He's going to kill someone with a chair. The Staith. I enjoyed it.
Number 9 is One Life.
Again, I will draw attention to the fact that we've had mails from people saying at the end of the film, everyone sat in silence, which I think is the strongest review of that movie.
Yeah, I think, and we've got more on that later.
Okay, fine.
Alan, right, The Colour Purple is at number 8.
So
Alan,
this is the film of the musical of the Colour Purple, not a re-release of the Stephen film. Yeah.
Alan Potter says, I watched Spielberg's Colour Purple for a project about a year ago, and while I thought it was very well made and well acted, I too thought the heavier moments were not given enough weight in the film. I come out of this new musical with pretty much the same feelings. I know musicals can deal with serious subjects, starving orphans in workhouses, leading to lives of crime, gang-related murders on the streets of New York, but incest, rape, teenage pregnancies, arranged marriages, domestic abuse, psychological trauma, family abandonment are not the sort of things I find myself tapping my toes and clicking my fingers to. It was quite telling, I thought, that the filmmakers seemed to agree with me. They didn't really have any songs in those moments and tried to keep it light instead. I like this slightly less than the 1985 version. And the seriousness of the subject just works better for me as a straight drama.
Yes, I mean, I think it is, as I said when I was reviewing it, it is just unusual for this story to be told as a musical. That said, the stage musical was a big success. This obviously hasn't set the box office on fire. Going in at number 8, I think I'd expected it to do better than that, because I think, it's well played and it's well designed and the music is well done, but there is no getting beyond the fact that it is a strange thing to do for a musical. And certainly if anyone was worried about the Spielberg film taking the harsh edges off the drama, then this does so and then some.
And it's number 20 in America. So 7 is Fighter.
Okay, so Fighter hasn't been press screened. It is an Indian Hindi language action film. If anybody has seen it, send us a review.
The Holdovers is at number 6.
I loved The Holdovers. I can't get over the fact that they didn't. I can't get over the fact that they held it over until January. Thank you very much. Here all week. I guarantee you this will become a Christmas staple in future years.
But if you get a chance to see it in February, then do so.
See it at any time of the year,
Poor Things is at number 5.
Well, I'm just a huge fan. I love the score. Congratulations to Jerskin Fendricks for getting nominated for Best Original Score. I think Emma Stone is fantastic. I think Yorgos Lanthimos' direction is everything you want from Yorgos Lanthimos. And we've had correspondence. Some people really take against it. Some people have really, really embraced it. I'm on the really, really embraced it side.
Number 4 is Anyone But You,
which I still haven't seen, but I need to because it's Will Glark.
Number 3 here, number 3 in the States is Wonka.
Still in there in its 8th week,
Number 2 here is All of Us Strangers.
How great to see All of Us Strangers going in at number 2, because it's absolutely wonderful, moving, just heartbreaking. I had a conversation with my therapist just yesterday about the use of Always on My Mind, which is not something that I expected to come up in a therapy session.
So email from Cara Adams from Little Old Newlyn in Cornwall.
Little Old Newlyn? Grand Newlyn?
No, I'm just saying that's what Cara is saying.
Okay, fine. Hello.
Hello, you wonderful humans. I'd only just started listening back in November with Saltburn being my first episode.
Wow.
Bad, I know, but I adore, admire, and aspire to be Emerald Fennell. You are now my oracles. This film was a true testimony to love, family, and trauma. I am in awe of Andrew Haigh and the entire cast. Knowing the film was adapted from a Japanese ghost story, I was unsure on how this was going to be shown on screen. Some ghost stories are a bit laborious and tiresome, but Andrew has done it perfectly. Breathtaking, beautiful, true, touching, heartwarming, heart-wrenching, funny, sad, happy, adoring. I felt it all. It was a true journey. I was a wreck when the power of love blared through the speakers and just couldn't move for a solid 10 minutes after the screen went blank, which is why I commented on our other correspondence about films where you just want to sit there. I had to just sit and process everything I just witnessed. With January already producing some incredible films, Poor Things, Holdovers, Priscilla, One Life, it was stiff competition, but Andrew Haigh and cast have knocked it out the park. Thank you, Cara. Rachel in Edinburgh. I saw All of Us Strangers on Friday night and did something I've never done before, immediately booked another ticket for Saturday night. This is cinema at its best. It's a film about what we are and what we can be and what we can't, about our limitations and needs and fundamental, completely human inability to deal with the weight of loss. It's about so much, but it's about grief and family and love and memory and arrested development and probably 100 more things. I felt ripped in half by the end in a good way. I'm not quite, which is...
I
know it is.
yeah.
Okay. I've heard Andrew Scott say you'll probably get something more from the film if you're gay. And while I think so much here is profoundly universal, it's the specificity to the queer experience that makes the film remarkable for me. The unbearable weight of saying the unsaid, both from him and from his parents, is unique in this scenario. Something every LGBT person will know, but the core of it is an experience omnipresent for humanity. Thank you,
Wow.
Rachel. And Stephen Carey says, I've just come out of watching All of Us Strangers, and no movie has had such a profound effect on me as this. I'm 65 years old, lost both my parents over 30 years ago, and this movie has rendered me speechless. Tears are flowing as I write this, and I know when I get home I'll lock myself away and wail into a pillow like the little boy I vaguely remember being. God bless Andrew Haigh, Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, Claire Foy, and Jamie Bell. Now I just need to be alone for a while. Heartbroken and wrecked, Stephen Carey. But again, maybe he might add in a good way.
Yeah. It does remind me that when you did that interview with Andrew Haigh, which you can listen to on last week's podcast, he said, because you told him a story about you having a dream about your dad.
Yeah.
And he said, so many people have done that, have come up to me and said, the film spoke to me about that particular thing. And it is fascinating that a Japanese ghost story that has been previously adapted for the cinema as a Japanese film called Discarnates, which if anyone is interested, do check it out. It's a very different telling of the story. But the universality of it is that anyone can experience those feelings. And I think the Andrew Haigh's film really has tapped into a universal nerve.
Yeah. And our correspondent is right. January has been, this is Cara from Newlyn. January's been pretty good month.
Yes, I mean, technically it's because we're in awards corridor.
Yes.
So, they
is that what it is? It's called the awards corridor.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So it is something that happens, and it's kind of, it's at once great and also sometimes frustrating, because it will sometimes mean that in any 1 week you'll suddenly find 2 or 3 really fascinating releases, whereas somewhere further down the calendar you might get a week in which be thankful for the beekeeper.
If you're doing dry January, January does go on forever. And the reason is you're in awards corridor. And it's a corridor.
Yes, it's a long corridor.
That goes on forever. Number 1 is Mean Girls.
The interesting thing about Mean Girls is that when it was originally made, they had planned it to only have a Paramount Plus release. And it ended up in cinemas because their test screenings had gone better than expected. And there it is, number 1 in the box office. So, what's that old phrase? In Hollywood, no one knows anything. And there's your proof